Hi, this is Steve Platek here for Evolution, This View of Life, the online magazine that approaches anything and everything from an evolutionary perspective. Today I'm talking with Dr. Scott Barry Kaufman, who's on the faculty at NYU. He's the co-founder of the Creativity Post and chief pedagogical advisor of the Future Project. Hey Scott, what's up?
Hey, that was good. That was really good.
So Scott, the first thing I've been asking everybody is, how did you get interested in evolutionary science or in particular evolutionary science as it applies to behavior or psychological constructs?
Good question. I mean, I was always interested in, I've always been interested in individual differences, right? Ever since I was like 10 and they thought I was a little mentally behind, we'll say, the other students. I had a learning disability. And I was always very interested in why just... What do you say?
I doubt that highly.
Oh, thanks. Well, you didn't see me when I was 10. I was running around the classroom with a cape, not paying attention to the teacher. I think that a lot of times, well, we'll talk about this later, but I think a lot of times schools take people that are maybe too bored with school or value imagination and don't really want to listen to the teacher. Nonconformists will say maybe they take them as it's easy to just put a label on them and stick them in a disciplinary room or a resource room, which is what I was in. But I've always been interested in how people differ from one another, and when I really got into understanding how people differ from one another, I felt like the perspectives I was learning from creativity and intelligence was missing an evolutionary perspective. I actually discovered evolution. I want to give a shout out right now to my home slice Glenn Gear at SUNY New Paltz, because I was introduced to him in my during my graduate school. Dr. Mark Brackett, who studies emotional intelligence at Yale, was a contributor to this book that Glenn was editing on mating intelligence. And he told me about the mating intelligence construct, and he's like, you know what, you and Glenn would get along really well. You should talk to him. He's interested in some of the things you're studying, like creativity and intelligence, how it applies to the mating domain. And I was definitely interested in mating. Okay. I've always been interested in mating since age 13. So I was like, you know what, that sounds really interesting. I want to say up to that point, I mean, I'm a late bloomer in evolutionary psychology. I want to keep that real. I'm definitely a late bloomer, so I'm really not, you know, I have no pretensions that I've been like studying this for a long time, but it was really interesting to me. So I contacted Glenn, and I started learning more about this construct that he was studying, and I realized that he also felt that individual differences were missing from the evolutionary approach, or a rich understanding of individual differences, because evolutionary psychologists have tended to primarily focus on human universals, which obviously makes sense if you're an evolutionary psychologist, because you're interested in the optimal design, right, of a function of a module or something of that nature. But Glenn also came from a similar background, a psychometric emotional intelligence in the grad school, and we hit it off, and we decided, we're like, hey, let's write a pop book on the topic. So we set off that goal, and then I would say ever since then, as I've read more about evolutionary psychology, I've realized just how much it can inform my own research.
Wow, that's fantastic. Yeah, I just spoke with Glenn the other day. Had a few.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, we had a few technical difficulties, but we're gonna work that out, and we're gonna try and get another video cast going. Yeah, Glenn's a fascinating fella. Okay, so tell me about some of your. Okay, I'm just gonna get right to it. Okay.
I'm eating flaxseed oatmeal, for the record.
Right, which I'm just gonna put on the record is not paleo. But that's
it's not
okay.
Nothing live in here.
No heartbeats. So disappointed.
No heartbeats in here. Heartbeats here.
Yeah, lots of heart. I wanna go out there. I was gonna ask you to tell me about your latest work, but before we do that, what I want you to tell me about are assholes. I want you to tell me about your research on what it means to be an asshole and whether that's attractive or not.
I've really gotten interested in that topic lately. You saw that talk at NEEPS. I mean, I've been interested in that topic because I was the target. Believe it or not, Steve, because I'm so suave now. I was the target target of bullies for most of my early childhood.
I can't believe it.
Well, they made me repeat third grade because they said I was too immature to go on to fourth grade. You know, you're really immature when you're too immature to go on to fourth grade. But anyway, that aside, so all the kids were like, they noticed that I was still in third grade when they were in fourth grade. So that was ripe for bullying, like, oh, look at retard bully, whatever. When I was, everywhere. It was really, I'm like kind of smiling, but it was really traumatic.
Yeah.
I grew up with a disdain for bullies and assholes, and once I really discovered science, I was like, this is so cool. I can study all the things I've always wanted to know about the world, like what's going on in this world. So, first it started, I was just primarily interested in education, creativity, intelligence, which is my primary focus still today. But still, I was like, you know what? There's all these other external topics that aren't that removed. Believe it or not, from the main topic that are interesting. I can find out what's really going on. So I started studying assholes. I started studying what is it they have? Why are they attractive to some individuals? Why do they have more short-term mating success? Which is a very technical term for they get laid more by a particular type of individuals. So, should we talk specifically though about asshole men? Why do men finish first, or women? Because if I'm talking generalities, but if you want me to talk specifically about men, then I can say like men and women, or if I say individuals and others, it sounds more awkward. I don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I want you to talk about the way that's most comfortable for you. What is your expertise in terms of
being an asshole?
Yeah, I mean, aside from personal experience.
I'm a bit of a bad boy myself.
Yeah. I've heard all the rumors. I've heard all the rumors.
You've heard the rumors?
Yeah. But I mean, tell me what it is. What are the benefits that come with being an asshole as a male or as a female? I mean, are they different?
So I don't think they are fundamentally different. I think that that assortative mating is a very important principle. I think that these people find each other. I think that the guys, there's actually a recent study that shows this. I don't know if you're familiar with a study that just came out recently. It shows that men and women that endorse sort of what's the word I'm looking for? Chauvinistic ideals about relationships. They actually like each other. So the women who wrote down, I think that like a woman's place is on her knees in the kitchen. So women who wrote these sorts of things, and there were women who wrote these things,
right?
Then reported that what they liked in a man were all of these traits of like the pickup artist, or not necessarily, I don't want to say the pickup artist, but a particular type of pickup artist, the kind that likes manipulating women.
Okay.
They were aware of this, so they were attracted to men, and the researchers concluded that these men and women seem to find each other because they're both signaling that they're interested in short-term mating. So they both have similar short-term mating preferences. So I think this assortative mating operates very strongly in the asshole world, so to speak. But I had a really interesting conversation with Tucker Max, who's some would say is the pinnacle of asshole, right? I had a very good conversation with him. I thought he said a lot of really sensible things. I'm actually going to be airing that. You can read the interview I had with him on Psychology Today or on my blog. But also, I'm releasing a video interview I did with him, and he said something interesting. I said, we talked about how he defines asshole. And the way he defined asshole was a little bit different than probably how we're talking about it here. Okay. He defined assholes as people who just don't take shit from others. That just am I allowed to curse on this thing, by the way?
I think we're well past that.
Are there children watching this? Oh, we're past that. Sorry.
We'll let the editors bleep stuff out.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, he defined it as people who just don't take junk from other people.
Yeah. Okay.
And don't take beer from other people, and I thought that was interesting. I think that is you can use that as a get out of jail card though too easily, and so I think he had a point that he sort of sees himself as this person. I think a lot of creative people, iconoclasts, so to speak, see themselves in their head as the type of person that is a nonconformist and et cetera, and that maybe is a particular type of asshole. that we actually maybe should value more in students and people in society. So it's a different way to look at asshole. That's maybe a little bit different than a bully, so to speak.
Okay.
Like you can be that type of nonconformist type of asshole and not be a bully and still care about other people. So that might be an interesting distinction to keep in mind.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. That's great.